Have you ever noticed that the men women remember the most are rarely the loudest, the richest, or the ones constantly seeking attention? There is something different about them. They walk into a room without needing to impress anyone. They speak with calm certainty. They are comfortable with silence. And somehow, without chasing validation, they naturally draw people toward them. This isn't luck. It isn't appearance. And it certainly isn't a dating trick. It is the quiet power of a disciplined mind. Hello everyone, welcome to the Magnetic Masculinity channel. In this video, you'll discover 7 Stoic qualities that create a kind of presence no charm can imitate. These traits won't just change the way women see you, they will transform the way you see yourself. Stay until the end, because the final trait is the one that separates boys who seek attention from men who naturally command respect and quiet admiration wherever they go. Now let's get started. Trait 1. He never chases validation. The first quality is surprisingly simple. A Stoic man does not wake up each day wondering how to impress other people. He is not obsessed with being liked, admired, or accepted. His confidence comes from keeping promises to himself, not from collecting compliments. That quiet independence is deeply attractive. Why? Because people naturally trust someone who isn't constantly seeking approval. His words carry more weight because they are not spoken to gain attention. His actions feel genuine because they are guided by principles rather than applause. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that another person's opinion could never define his character. A Stoic man lives by the same belief. Ironically, the less he tries to convince others of his worth, the more his value becomes undeniable. He doesn't need to prove that he is enough. He simply becomes the kind of man who already knows it. And that quiet certainty is something no performance can ever imitate. Trait 2. He remains calm under pressure. Anyone can appear confident when life is easy. The true test of character begins when life becomes difficult. A Stoic man does not allow every disappointment, disagreement, or emotional moment to control his behavior. When others react with anger, panic, or desperation, he chooses composure. This calmness is not emotional emptiness. It is emotional discipline. People, especially women, often feel safer around someone who remains steady during uncertainty. His presence communicates strength without aggression. He listens before speaking. He thinks before reacting. He never allows temporary emotions to make permanent decisions. That kind of stability is rare in a world where so many people are controlled by impulse. His calm is not designed to impress anyone. It is the natural result of mastering himself long before trying to influence anyone else. And the man who governs his own emotions quietly becomes someone others instinctively respect, trust, and remember. Before we move on to the next Stoic qualities, pause for a moment and ask yourself this. Which of these 2 traits do you find the hardest to practice? Staying calm under pressure or letting go of the need for validation? Share your answer in the comments. I genuinely love to hear your perspective, and your story might inspire someone else who is on the same journey. If you're enjoying this exploration of Stoic wisdom and want to become a stronger, calmer, and more disciplined version of yourself, subscribe to the channel and join thousands of others committed to mastering their minds instead of chasing approval. Now, let's continue with the next qualities, because the following trait is often the one that quietly makes a man unforgettable without him ever trying to be. Trait 3. He is comfortable being alone. One of the rarest qualities a Stoic man possesses is the ability to enjoy his own company. He does not fear silence. He does not panic when he is alone. He understands that loneliness and solitude are not the same thing. Loneliness comes from feeling incomplete without someone else. Solitude comes from discovering that your own company is enough. Most people rush from one relationship to another because they are trying to escape themselves. A Stoic man does the opposite. He uses solitude to sharpen his mind, strengthen his character, and build a life that reflects his values. Ironically, this independence often becomes deeply attractive. Why? Because people are naturally drawn to those who choose connection rather than desperately needing it. When a man is at peace with himself, his relationships become a choice instead of a necessity. And there is tremendous freedom in that. The man who can happily walk alone will never beg anyone to stay. And that quiet freedom speaks louder than any romantic words ever could. Trait 4. He protects his boundaries without anger. Many people believe strength means winning every argument. The Stoics believe something very different. Real strength is knowing when to walk away. A Stoic man does not tolerate disrespect simply because he fears losing someone. He understands that every yes to mistreatment is a quiet no to his own self-respect. That is why his boundaries are calm, not aggressive. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't seek revenge. He simply refuses to remain where his dignity is no longer valued. This kind of quiet confidence often surprises people. They expect drama. Instead, they encounter peace. Because a man who knows his worth does not waste energy proving it. He simply lives according to it. The truth is, healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, not constant sacrifice. And the moment you begin protecting your peace, you teach others how they must treat you. That lesson is far more powerful than any speech you could ever give. Trait 5. He lives with purpose, greater than romance. Perhaps the most attractive quality of all is this. A Stoic man has a mission that exists beyond relationships. His life is not centered around being admired. It is centered around becoming better than he was yesterday. Every morning, he wakes with goals that challenge him. He invests in his body. He sharpens his mind. He develops skills. He keeps promises to himself even when no one is watching. Love becomes part of his life. It never becomes the whole of his identity. That is exactly why he carries a different kind of presence. People sense that he is moving towards something meaningful, and purpose has a quiet magnetism that attention can never replace. In the end, women are not simply drawn to confidence. They are drawn to the peace, discipline, and direction that genuine confidence creates. Because the man who knows where he is going never has to convince others to follow. His life itself becomes the invitation. And the final 2 Stoic qualities will reveal why the strongest presence is often the one that speaks the least, yet leaves the deepest impression. Trait 6. He speaks less, but every word has weight. One of the most overlooked qualities of a Stoic man is not what he says. It is what he chooses not to say. In a world where everyone feels the need to explain themselves, argue, or constantly prove their value, he remains remarkably quiet, not because he lacks confidence, but because he understands that wisdom does not compete for attention. He listens more than he speaks. He observes before making judgments. And when he finally chooses to speak, his words are thoughtful, measured, and sincere. That is why people pay attention. His silence creates space. His words create impact. Women are rarely impressed by endless talking. They are drawn to emotional presence, the feeling that someone is fully aware, deeply grounded, and genuinely listening. A Stoic man never fills every silence simply to avoid discomfort. He understands that silence often reveals more character than conversation ever could. Because a man who has mastered his thoughts no longer feels the need to constantly defend them. And in a noisy world, quiet confidence becomes unforgettable. Trait 7. He never loses himself. Trying to keep someone else. This may be the greatest Stoic quality of all. A Stoic man loves deeply. He cares sincerely. He gives wholeheartedly, but he never sacrifices his identity in exchange for someone else's affection. He knows that the moment you abandon your principles just to be accepted, you begin losing the very qualities that made you valuable in the first place. Love should never require you to betray yourself. Respect should never require you to beg, and peace should never be traded for temporary attention. That is why, even in heartbreak, the Stoic man continues moving forward. He grieves without becoming bitter. He remembers without becoming trapped in the past. He lets go without losing his dignity, because he understands one timeless truth. No relationship is worth the price of your self-respect. Ironically, this is the very quality that makes him unforgettable. not because he tries to make someone regret losing him, but because he becomes a man who never regrets staying true to himself. And perhaps that is the deepest lesson of Stoicism. The strongest man is not the one who is admired by everyone. He is the one who can look into the mirror every morning, knowing he has remained faithful to his values, his purpose, and his character. When a man reaches that point, attraction is no longer something he chases. It becomes the quiet consequence of the person he has chosen to become. Conclusion. In the end, these 7 Stoic qualities were never really about attracting women. They were about becoming the kind of person who no longer depends on external validation to know his worth. True attraction is not created by perfect words, expensive possessions, or carefully planned strategies. It is born from character. When you cultivate inner peace, emotional discipline, quiet confidence, and unwavering purpose, you naturally become someone others respect, trust, and admire. But more importantly, you become someone you are proud to see in the mirror every single day. That is the greatest reward Stoicism has to offer. The lesson to carry into your life. As you leave this video, don't ask yourself, how can I become more attractive? Instead ask, who am I becoming when no one is watching? That single question can transform your entire life. Every day, choose one Stoic quality to practice. Stay calm when life tests you. Protect your boundaries without anger. Seek purpose before approval. Learn to enjoy your own company. Speak with intention instead of reacting emotionally. And above all, never sacrifice your character in exchange for temporary attention. If this video inspired you to become a stronger, wiser, and more disciplined man, subscribe to the channel and become part of a growing community dedicated to Stoic philosophy, emotional mastery, and lifelong self-improvement. Your support allows us to continue creating thoughtful videos that challenge the mind, strengthen the spirit, and inspire real change. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Until the end of the video, see you in the next videos.